Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Biggest I Ever Had with Dan and Dave.
Series 2, episode something.
5 or 6, who knows?
4, 3, 2,
Let us
1.
know in the comments section what we're doing. This is a show where we basically pick a random year in chart history and we talk about the number one singles, the ones we like, the ones that we think should be deleted, and the ones that we think are underrated. Last time we got the year 2014.
Yes, which considering we did, 2018 last time?
Yeah.
We're not going that far back in time.
No.
I'm hoping everybody listening will remember 2014. You know?
Yeah, right. I don't think we've got any, how old are they? 7?
Yeah, you'd have to be born before, 7. And
Yeah.
If
you're 7 and you're listening to this,
get off YouTube. Go outside.
You need to get a life, and also we're going to swear a lot.
Yeah, fuck, wank. So there you go, age verify now.
Yeah.
Can I get my balls out?
Yeah, well, yeah, on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, go to there and see Dan's hairy
Can you
testicles.
pixelate me?
Yeah, I can pixelate you.
Just pixelate my face right now.
So, 2014 was a not very distant year. I can remember a lot of these songs being popular. It was my last year of university, so
Nothing
I'm sure...
really stays in my head
No.
for 2014.
I'm sure I got very drunk to lots of these songs in nightclubs. So it was the first year that streams alone were getting songs into the number one spot.
And this list clearly shows that, because the first thing I noticed is there is a stupid amount of number ones. It's like a new one every week.
Yeah.
And
gosh,
most of it had no staying power.
No, apart from a couple of things. Happy kept coming back into the charts.
And we did a whole episode on Happy. So.
Yeah, so you can go back and listen to that, because I don't really want to talk about that anymore.
Happy, no.
It got 25 million streams. It was number one over and over again. All About That Bass was a success based on streams alone.
Yeah. What's going on in the world in 2014?
Before everything went to shit.
It was before Brexit and things like that.
Yeah.
I guess fringe politics was starting to become mainstream, because you got to think things like the Brexit movement and stuff, and Trump, because Trump did his campaign 2015, but that kind of sort of fringe politics is starting.
Yeah.
I remember the media's response to it, programs like Have I Got News For You and things, when they'd be like, hey, Donald Trump's going to run, and they're like, ha ha, what a load of nonsense.
Yeah, we were still in the phase Donald Trump's never going to be the president.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of sneering metropolitan elitist, that never happened. And I think those people are as much to blame for any bad shit that happened than the people that wanted the bad shit to happen.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, there was a few records broken this year in terms of music. Cheryl broke the record for British solo female number ones.
And she's terrible.
And she is terrible, yeah, these songs are pretty trash. And Ed Sheeran got the record for the longest time it took a song to get to number one.
Wow.
And that was Thinking Out Loud, and it took 19 weeks to peak at number one. And that's one that was due to streams. Because it had to be, because it's not very good.
No, well, I'm going to start this episode, because we usually start with what we like, don't we? I'm going to start this one, looking down the list. There was a couple bits and pieces, I was like, I don't mind that song, I feel, to show that I'm not a jaded arsehole who just shits on things for the sake of shitting things, and says things are terrible for the sake of saying it, I'm going to pick Ed Sheeran's Sing as my song of the year.
Really? That's very interesting. I wouldn't have thought that, because you keep,
Because I go on about how much I hate Ed Sheeran, it actually, that being my song of 2014, justifies me hating him more.
Okay.
Because it shows that he can make good music.
He just chooses not to.
He just chooses not to. And the thing is, before you go, he chooses not... No, he has algorithmically determined exactly what will make him have a hit single.
Yeah.
And it's middle-of-the-road, boring, bland pop music that fits well in between adverts on YouTube, Spotify, and the radio. And that is why he's so successful. I do not believe for a second that there are intelligent people with working brains who wake up in the morning and go, you know what I need to listen to? I need to listen to Ed Sheeran. He is the bread of music.
Yeah.
You know? Nobody would... If you said to me, I hate bread unless you're gluten-free or, there's a dietary reason, I'd be like, why? It's bread. If you're like, oh, God, foods I won't eat, sprouts, anchovies, jelly deals, and bread. I'd be like, really? Bread? It's not that big a deal? That's how I feel about Ed Sheeran. He's so middle-of-the-road and boring that I don't care. But I think the song Sing is brilliant. Probably because it was produced by Pharrell.
Oh, that is probably
and
a
Pharrell
lot.
can make anybody sound like Justin Timberlake. But it's a brilliant song. It works perfectly. It's a fantastic pop song. He even does that annoying sing-song rap thing that he does.
Yeah,
which I fucking hate when white people do that. Yet, it works.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why. There's something about his goofy... The video is fucking terrible and he's like a Muppet.
The Muppet, yeah.
Yeah, and it's shit. And I still it's charming in a weird way. I don't know. I like that song. And I don't like Ed Sheeran's music.
Yeah.
Don't know him as a person. He seems like a pretty decent person, so I can't blame him there. But I really, really like that song. And I was looking down the list and I was like, you know, of all the ones I would choose to listen to now, it would probably be that, actually.
That's very interesting.
And again, probably because it doesn't sound like anything else he's done. You know, probably the closest song would be Don't, which I think might have been a hit this year. I'm not sure. It was from the same album. Yeah. I'm not sure if it is on the list, but it might have been the next year. I'm pretty sure that got to number 1 as well. Which is alright, but it's not as good as Sing. It just reminds me of Sing. It's a bit like You Wear It Well by Rod Stewart. I like that song because it reminds me of Maggie May. I like Maggie May. It's the only good Rod Stewart song. But everyone, when you go, I think I've said this before, when they say, oh yeah, what about You Wear It Well? Like, it sounds like Maggie May, but with different lyrics. And Don't by Ed Sheeran sounds like Sing, but with not as interesting a guitar line and not as catchy a hook.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, so I'm going to not be as negative for once.
That's amazing. I'm shocked. So I'm going to be a bit negative, but then I'm going to spin it around and be positive. So I found this list particularly challenging because there's a lot of mediocre and forgettable songs, and I guess that's because there's so many number ones, and not all of them have had staying power. I found a lot of the material is all very like mundane and pedestrian. There's lots of dance hits. And when I was looking through the list, the entire first half, I was getting worried because there was literally nothing that I liked. Apart from The Man by Aloe Blacc, which I think is a really nice soulful song.
I like Aloe Blacc as well.
Yeah, it's a really nice retro-sounding song. Kind of like we were saying Crazy's kind of timeless. I think The Man is a timeless song. Well, I think it's helped by the fact that it steals from your song, which is a great hook, you can tell everybody. And I think what I like about it in particular is the way that he mixes in the choir into like the R&B style, which is something that I think that people have tried to do subsequently and previously and never quite pulled off. Like Jesus is King, it reminded me of that, but successful.
Yeah, done well. Yeah, no, I like Aloe Blacc. That's a good choice. As I said, I did think about like going slightly less obvious for my choice, but I just felt because I've been so negative about Ed Sheeran in the past, I wanted to prove that I haven't got like some sort of vendetta.
Yeah.
So that's why I've picked that.
Yeah, there were a couple of other good songs that I could have easily gone for. One was Rude by Magic, and I think it's so overplayed and it's a bit annoying, but I just like the fact it's a band.
Yeah, it's a band making him
The only other band that I could see there, like just off the top of my head, was like 5 Seconds of Summer, and they're so really manufactured. And like Rude, it's like cheesy and it's kind of like really faux white boy reggae. It's got a guitar solo. When was the last time you heard a guitar solo in a number 1 single?
That's definitely becoming more and more apparent. Is bands do not have number 1 hits anymore.
No,
apart from Maroon 5, who aren't a band. They're basically Adam Levine is a pop star. They're not a band. You know, they don't sit down with instruments and record. And there's, you know, I'm not saying that one is purer than the other. I've never quite understood that argument of people saying, you know, real music is music. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But when you hear about music being made by focus groups and being made by that to me just feels so soulless and corporate.
It does, like a board, a committee.
Yeah, it feels like completely the opposite of what rock and roll is supposed to be and what musical expression is supposed to be. So when an artist comes along or a band, even if they're not great, and you know, Magic are a pretty shit band. And it's not, like you said, it's not even a particularly great... It's not really the song that I like more. I respect it for existing. You know?
Do I think I liked it because it reminded me of like Elvis Costello watching The Detectives, and if you ignore their words, it kind of does sound like that, like retro late 70s vibe.
Yeah, and again, it's like we're so starved for anything sort of, I don't know... Edgy or exciting that I'll take...
What I get
if the alternative is things like Cheryl Cole. You know, if that's the other end of the spectrum in 2014, when it comes to number one singles, is I have to listen to Durf like that. That's just so like. I mean, I wasn't going to pick Cheryl Cole as one of my awful ones, but now that you've mentioned her, Cheryl Cole, to me, I've never understood why she exists.
Okay.
Because I actually quite like Girls Aloud. I actually think Girls Aloud were a very underrated pop group. They had brilliant songs. Xenia is a sort of music songwriting collective who wrote all of their big hits. And they wrote some fantastic pop songs, and I actually think Girls Aloud are brilliant. So when I'm criticising, and also I'm aware that Sarah Harding recently died, so I don't want to seem like I'm... I never had an issue, though, with Girls Aloud. Girls Aloud were great. Cheryl Cole, the celebrity persona, what the fuck does she represent? Who is she? She's a pretty face, and that's about it. You know, she has no musical... No. There's nothing about her that is in any way musically unique.
I think she appeals to an ageing female demographic that like to think that they're back.
People that watch X Factor.
Yeah. Radio 2.
Yeah, Radio 2. People who watch X Factor and go, I'm now up to date with pop culture because Cheryl Cole at the time was under 30.
Yeah.
And I know I can name a pop star who's under 30. Look, I'm suddenly cool. I'm not past it and a wine mum who has no purpose and, you know, apart from looking after my kids and waiting for my husband to come home, my days are pretty much pointless. Yeah. I'm not, because I watch X Factor on a Saturday and I know Cheryl.
Yeah.
Our Cheryl. Newcastle girl done good. And that's the other thing that pisses me off. She gives this whole, like...
Yeah.
And also, she attacked a black woman in some toilets.
Okay.
And said some racial slurs, and everyone forgets about that. Okay. She was arrested and charged with that, bearing in mind. This isn't slander. Jeez. She genuinely was, but people overlook that. Yet there are other celebrities that have done much smaller things who we've cancelled.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Well, let's cancel her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call her a racist. I'm sure she wasn't, and she's worked with lots of black artists, but... She was drunk as well, not that ever justifies using racial slurs.
Yeah, because drunkenness brings out what your sober thoughts are.
But it still seems like one of these controversies that she's been very good at managing and hiding.
Yeah.
I don't know what she represents as an artist. I don't know what she brings to the table. I don't get what a Cheryl Cole fan would look like, other than, I guess, similar to an Ed Sheeran fan. People... Yeah. There is a subsection of people when it comes to pop culture, they like what they're told to like.
Yeah.
What movie they go and watch at the cinema that week is whatever the number one movie is because they're told they should go and watch that.
Yeah.
You know? They're the sort of people that love movies that are just generic, you know, movies. They like Adam Sandler movies. They like chicken kormas. They like listening to Cheryl whilst they drive their Fiat Punto to their boring job, and they have boring lives and boring children, and that's fine.
Yeah.
They're not making the world a worse place. They're not bad people, but they are pointless.
Yeah.
And Cheryl Cole is kind of, to me, the icon of that subsection of pointless people.
You have put that perfectly. So to round this off, I had two other things that came close to being my favourite. So there was Changing by Sigma. It just reminded me like of a proper 90s style club
I don't mind
tune.
that, yeah.
And then Bang Bang by Jessie J, Ariana Grande, and Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj kills that song for me.
I know.
As in, she makes it good.
Yeah.
Like,
the thing about Nicki Minaj is, I don't like her music when she does it on her own.
Nicki Minaj is terrible as
apart
an
from
artist.
Anaconda and Stupid Ho.
Yeah, she has a few good songs. I quite like Starships as well.
Yeah.
She has a few good Nicki Minaj songs, but as a featured artist, I don't understand why she is one of the most prevalent featured artists.
Yeah.
After maybe Snoop Dogg, I can't think of an artist who has appeared more featured on singles in the last 10 years than Nicki Minaj, and I don't know why you would have Nicki Minaj, because she always overshadows the other artists.
I know. Like Monster, case in point. Like that verse is absolutely fantastic.
Probably the best rap verse ever.
It puts Jay-Z to shame.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Nicki Minaj is when she's good, she's better than everybody else there.
Yeah.
And when she's bad, she's just really boring. And I feel like she's got a team of people behind her who are like, okay, Nicki, we like it when you do this and sing this song this particular way, and she does as she's told. And then when she's a featured artist, she gets to do what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And suddenly she absolutely blows everybody out the water.
Yeah, I think people have just, when they feature her, they're thinking she's going to do something amazing, and that's part of they push her to
She saved many a bad song.
Yeah.
Through her, and also killed many a boring ballad that she's released herself. Yeah, it's a shame that But yeah, no, that's a good. I don't mind. Ariana Grande has a pretty voice. It's not
lovely.
my favourite song of hers, but I don't mind it. Jessie J's kind of a non-presence. I feel like Jessie J, the songwriter, is probably very, very good, and she was a songwriter. She was an in-demand songwriter before she became a pop star. I don't see why. If it was just an Ariana Grande song and a Nicki Minaj song, why anything would be lost.
No.
I don't feel that she brings anything to the table that somebody else couldn't have brought. She hasn't really got a presence that nobody else wouldn't have.
Yeah.
By no means she's not bad, but again, she's just there.
Okay, so you've heard our thoughts about the songs we liked, even though we were a bit negative about Cheryl, but now it's the part where we talk about the song that we'd like to delete from this list.
Yes.
So delete from this list, delete from memory, delete from history.
Can I shit on charities again?
Oh, yeah, you can certainly do that, because Wake Me Up is pretty bad.
That Wake Me Up, I was going to go Do They Know the Christmas?
Yeah.
And I thought, I've said enough bad things. We did a whole, hour episode where I shat on Band-Aid. And again, it wasn't charity, it was egotistical celebrities slapping themselves on the back.
And not actually doing anything to help as well.
Yeah. And then I saw Gareth Malone. And I cannot stand Gareth Malone. He has this holier-than-thou kind of attitude. I'm sure he's done more net positive for the world than anything bad. But he does these... For those that don't know, Gareth Malone is a professional choir master, which apparently is a thing. I have a feeling he might have a background in, vocal training or working in theatre. I don't know. I don't care enough to look up. But I have a feeling that's what he's about. A bit like how Arlene Phillips on Strictly, she used to choreograph, dance music videos.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he was, the equivalent for training, Broadway stars or something. Might have made that up, in which case, who cares? But he does these TV programmes in the UK where it'll be they're like mission shows, and I cannot stand these types of shows because they're feel-good poppy nonsense for morons, where it'll be this working men's club, that I've gone to this working men's club in Hull, and we're going to put on a charity concert. I've got 6 days to make these group of beer-drinking dock workers into the best choir Hull has ever seen. And they pull it out the bag at the end by doing some big concert, and they save the working men's club.
Yeah.
And it's the most, boring, feel-good nonsense that I've ever seen. I cannot stand that sort of television programmes. And what's horrible is that it's now seeped its claws into the pop charts. I think I mentioned before about the Military Wives.
You did, yes.
For those that don't know, so the Military Wives, they're a recurring choir. They've released multiple albums. They are wives of serving or deceased veterans in the British Army. So by no means people that I'm going to criticise for doing it.
Yeah.
And they had a film out about them for some stupid reason. Well, I don't get why. Because again, it's not the existence of it that annoys me. It's the popularity of it. Because...
Yeah. It's like a smugness, isn't it?
It's
that
a
people
smugness.
have about
there
it,
is nothing...
pat yourself on the
and
back,
I feel
everyone's got to applaud you.
Okay, do I have a problem with a group of veteran wives binding together and singing pop songs and recording them for charity to help veterans who've been injured in service? No, I don't. Of course I don't. I'm not a monster. But does that therefore dissolve it from any criticism as music? Just because the intentions behind it are supposedly good and the background story is noble, does that mean that I can listen to the song and go, oh, well, okay, yeah, it's amazing and it's the best thing I've heard? No, I don't like the fact that I'm not allowed to criticise it.
Yeah.
Because it is shit.
The thing is, it's charity first and music is an afterthought.
Yeah.
And what is the point in making music for the sake of music?
Yeah, and I think what also really annoys me is it's a Children in Need single, and I don't have an issue with Children in Need and Red Nose Day. I'm sure, again, it does more net positive in the world than anything bad. And if you want to know my opinions on comic relief and the white saviour complex behind it, we did do basically an entire episode in our Band-Aid one where I talked about that. But I remember growing up, the Children in Need and Red Nose Day songs were at least original singles.
Yeah.
They were things like S Club 7 would do, Never Had a Dream Come True. Again, not a song I like, but it's putting something new into the world. This is just lazy, let's just get a choir, to sing a pop song.
Yeah.
And print some money for charity. And again, as much as the intentions might be good, just donate.
Yeah.
Why does the song have to exist?
Do something people want to actually listen to.
So the only other thing I was going to say to be negative, because I will go to underrated songs, because I want to keep this a bit short, because I was already very negative in my complaining about Cheryl Cole. The other single that I really don't like is Sam Smith. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't hate everything Sam Smith has ever done, but I don't get it.
No, I don't see the appeal, and also Sam Smith cannot sing.
No.
Sam Smith's voice is very bad.
Yes, and I don't like Sam Smith.
No, I don't like Sam Smith at all.
Yes.
Sam Smith to me seems like a narcissistic attention seeker.
And that's what annoys me is we're at the point now where finally LGBTQ rights are getting respected, or at least long overdue. In the West, but long overdue. And people like Sam Smith seem to make things worse by constantly playing the victim because it plays into bigots. It plays into the hands of the bigots. Yeah.
The thing is, once you've got everything you've asked for, then what makes you special?
Yeah, and there is a lot of that. It's I want you to call me a gay slur so that I can complain about it. Instead of, isn't it good that we're finally being treated with respect?
Yes.
And look at all these people in the past who had to go through this. Which is why, for example, a great example of a openly gay artist doing things properly is Ollie Alexander.
Yeah.
Who has basically come out and said, I'm gay, I'm happy to be gay, but all these people previously were treated like shit because they were gay. I'm going to fight for them to get recognition. Not, I'm poor me, I'm hard done by. Yeah. Like, Ollie Alexander came out and was like, I just find it funny that I walk around in a crop top and hot pants on stage and everyone's like, oh God, think of the children, when it's 2021. Instead of Sam Smith, who would be like, oh, poor me, oh, no one understands. I'm the only gay man to ever exist, you know?
Not man, Dan.
I'm the only gay person to ever exist, ever.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so fuck Sam Smith's music and kind of fuck him as a human being.
Yeah. So I had a couple of candidates for the ones I delete. So Meghan Trainor's all about the bass. It's just a gross song. But I do like the kind of retro vibe that it
just needs better lyrics. Better lyrics and a different person singing it. And that could have been...
And she's not, like, big. She's not big.
She's Hollywood fat. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's Hollywood fat. As in, she's not actually fat.
Yeah.
She's just slightly bigger than your average woman.
Yeah.
You know?
And, like, the countless amount of, like, morbidly obese people I've seen dance to that, it's just like...
And also, I've never understood this, I'm going to build you up by putting somebody else down.
Yeah. There was also an X Factor song, Something I Need by Ben Haynow. But
never heard of it.
That's the first time that name and that song has ever been said since this
We've said enough about X Factor, though.
Rubbish. Delete it. And then the last one is It's My Birthday by Will I Am. It's annoying. It's
just my underrated
awful.
track.
Oh, really? Okay, so now we're going to talk about what we think is the most underrated number one.
I've already showed my hand with...
You have. So maybe we'll give you a chance to explain yourself.
So, I need to set the scene, first of all.
Okay.
I've talked many a time in this series about bad music.
Yeah.
I talk more about music that I hate than music that
do.
I like. But I've always said, to me, the bad is not necessarily objectively what is... bad. It's the absence of anything good or interesting. Sam Smith will always piss me off way more than the most processed, shitty Will I Am song.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, I should start by saying, I have always enjoyed the Black Eyed Peas. When the Black Eyed Peas are good, they're really good. They've done loads of great songs. When they're bad, they're really interesting.
Yeah.
When you think of bad Black Eyed Peas songs, you think of things like The Time, brackets, Dirty Bit. It's an awful, awful song. I would never choose to listen to it. However, it is interesting.
Yeah.
There is nothing that exists on this planet apart from that song. It is weird. It makes no sense. It breaks all musical rules for no real reason.
Yeah.
The rapping is terrible. But I will tell you this. I can pretty much tell you the entire Apple D verse from the time Dirty bit, because although it's terrible, it's a memorable version of terrible.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I will always respect more, because you shot for something and you completely missed, but at least you were trying to put something new into the world. When you listen to artists like Sam Smith, there's no way Sam Smith finishes a track and goes, nobody has ever done a song like this. I imagine every time will.i.am is in the studio, that's what goes through his mind. He finishes something and goes, nobody has done bad music like this, or music like this in general.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the majority of the time, it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. It's My Birthday is one of those versions. There was a phrase that came popular around about this time called #rap. Lots of artists did it. Probably the most famous was Lil Wayne. So his verses would be like, I'm running back and forth like a soccer team. It would be like, you kind of say something and then it's pretending like there's a clever punchline, but there isn't actually.
Yeah.
It's a bit like saying, I made myself some stew. That's beefy good. It's like, what? The two things are kind of connected. And he did it a lot. This is basically that, but on steroids. It's lots of silly, like you said, that I can speak Japanese, and then he speaks Japanese for no real reason. And the video is brilliant because they took a lot of popular Vine moments at the time, and they combined them, and it's on the nose. When you watch the video as well, you realise that they're in on the joke. They know this is a ridiculous song. will.i.am has made lots and lots of terrible music as a solo artist, and he collaborates with seemingly everybody.
Yeah.
And he somehow manages to make everybody seem like, make them sound the same, which is pretty impressive. The best one, he did a song with Mick Jagger, which was incredible. It's very special, and I'm not going to say any more than that because I'll put it on after this.
Okay.
It's bad. will.i.am is a pretty bad artist, but every now and then he captures lightning in the bottle, and I can't explain why this is good, but like the Mick Jagger one is bad, because ostensibly they're very, very similar. But I guess maybe there's a knowingness, there's kind of a cheek to it. I think it's Cody Wise, who I wasn't that familiar with, but that's the other artist on the track. Does bring some interesting things in there. I like it. I think it's certainly more interesting, and the problem with this list again is there seems to be a new hit every single week, and I don't remember any of them, and I've probably heard all of them because I was around in 2014. I listened to music. I mean, when we did 97, for example, I was a child, so I wasn't listening to everything on the radio, but in 2014 I definitely was, and I'm sure I heard all of these songs because they were all big hit singles, but none of them have had any staying power in my brain. But It's My Birthday by will.i.am has. And that's, to me, why it's underrated. It's not the best song, and it's not brilliant, and it wouldn't even feature in my top probably 100 or 200 hit singles of the 2010s. But that's not the question. The question is, what's an underrated single? And to me, it's underrated. Because if you were saying to me, like, if someone said to me, if aliens came down to this planet and said, right, I want a good Black Eyed Peas song, a bad Black Eyed Peas song, a good will.i.am song, and a bad will.i.am song, this would be my good will.i.am song choice.
Really? And I feel like the stuff he did for the Great Gatsby soundtrack is better.
Yeah, but it's more respectful. But it's not interesting. It's not interesting. I'm not, boring. It's a bit like Adele's Bond theme. Yeah, on paper it's technically interesting, but I would much rather will.i.am giving a shot at a Bond theme.
Oh my god, imagine that.
That would be that would interest me. If you were like, right, we're going to put together... Like, when Billie Eilish got suggested, I was excited. When I finally heard the Bond theme, I was like, I mean, it's not bad, but it's a bit safe. It's a bit boring.
Yeah.
But if you were like, we're going to get Billie Eilish, will.i.am, Snoop, and Kesha, and Young Thug together, and they're going to make a Bond theme, now I'm interested, because what the fuck is going to happen? And that's the way I feel about will.i.am. Yeah, it's not great, and I don't want to pretend like it's brilliant, but I do think it's underrated. It deserves more respect than anything else. What was your pick?
So my pick was These Days by Take That, and I picked it because we've spoken about Take That previously, and the thing is, they were like a band that didn't have much artistic credit when they were at their most popular before, like, the millennium, or in the early millennium. Then they came back, And
they're a real band.
They're a real band, and this song it's just a fun song, isn't it?
I also like this song as well because this was the first. I don't know if it was the first single, but it was the first big hit they had after Jason Orange left.
Yeah,
and they became a free piece, and it kind of proved, oh no, like there's any version of Gary Barlow fronting.
Yeah,
Take That could work because they're just good pop songs.
Yeah, it is strange, isn't it? Because Gary Barlow on his own is not good.
Boring as fuck.
Yeah,
the man has nothing to do.
But with Take That, he's pumping out like decent
still be
pop
having
songs.
This is the thing, there are plenty of artists out there that are still having number one singles 20 years into their career. However, it's usually featuring a younger artist, a cover of one of their older songs, or a re-release because it's been in a movie or an advert. That doesn't count. Like Bohemian Rhapsody got back to number one not that long ago. You can't say Queen are still having hits in 2018 or whatever year it was, because who cares? It doesn't count. But this is Take That writing an original song, putting it out there. You know, they're not featuring will.i.am. They're not featuring some big 2014 artist. It's not co-written by Ed Sheeran, and it's got his fan base getting on board. It's nothing like that. It's just simply Take That, writing a song, going into the studio, and it going to number one. And also, they feel like a band.
And they write their own material.
They write their own material. This is what we said about it. And I don't feel like there's a focus group.
No.
I feel like it's just, come on guys, let's go to the studio and write a song.
It's people who've made their money, got their fame. They could go away and stop existing.
They don't need to do anything else.
They don't need to prove themselves. But yet they're doing this because they want to.
Elton John has spent the last goodness how many years just doing a victory lap as a greatest hits.
Yeah.
And they could do that.
They could have done that.
They could have done that, and they'd just make tons of cash, and nobody would, be
But
fine.
actually, they're in the studio making their best material.
Yeah, definitely. The album that preceded this, I think, was Progress, and I think, to me, that's their best album.
Okay.
It's really kind of experimental. It's only 8 tracks long. It's very electronic. It's very kind of dark and moody, and it's not what you would expect from them. And that excites me that they're still trying to make music like that. No, fair play to them. I haven't really got anything bad to say.
No.
And I like to sort of preference that though I can be very negative about things, it's not because I hate everything. Yeah, I respect Take That. They're a brilliant pop band. Probably one of the best British pop bands, certainly of the last 30 years, if not of all time. They write great music. They all seem like decent people, apart from when they don't pay tax. But other than that, good.
So that's our thoughts on the music of the number one singles of 2014.
Strange.
So, a very varied year. There's lots of forgettable stuff. There's some stuff that's going to stick around for decades to come. So now it's the part of the episode where we have to choose the random year for the next episode. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to press go on the random number generator.
Let's have a go.
The random number
Hopefully
generator.
it's out of the 2010s, because I feel like we've extensively covered the 2010s now.
1964.
Ooh, interesting. Is that the earliest one we've done? Yeah, because it was 1970.
Yeah, this will be the earliest one.
Can we make a rule now that we will reference that the Beatles exist, but I don't want to spend the whole episode talking about
No, we're not going to do an in-depth
I have a feeling
analysis.
that, like, off the top of my head, a large proportion of the year is going to be Beatles singles. Because that was when they were releasing singles as well. Like, the later half of the 60s doesn't have as many Beatles records because they weren't releasing singles. They were non-album singles.
Well, it's a big year for the Beatles, 64.
Yes.
But we'll discuss that next time. Don't
Yes.
forget to like and subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, hit the bell notification button so that you get an alert when we upload 1964.
And we'll be uploading them at 2 in the morning to wake you back up.
Yeah. Until next time.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.